This is 40K Today. 40K News so safe, it's like a unit of custodies with storm shields inside a magic box out of range.
Hello and welcome to 40K Today. This is your 15-minute daily news and interview show that covers the entire hobby of Warhammer 40,000. We get competitive on the tabletop, we paint and kit bash with the best in the business, we find hobby tips, and we meet the most amazing people in our all-around awesome community. Today is Monday the 29th of June, and on the show, we talk to our own Steve Joll about his trip into a team tournament and the first physical tournament that's been played in New Zealand since the COVID lockdown came down. But before we do that, talk to another Warhammer hero who's building an amazing community around the hobby that we all love. But first up, though, we have a poll question live on our Facebook page, so let's kick things off with that. Our 40K Today poll question of the week, live on our Facebook page as of right now, is Overwatch is changing in the new edition, but not for Tau. Our question for you is this. Tau retaining Overwatch abilities like in 8th edition is, air quotes, fair and balanced, or, air quotes, total BS. Make sure you come to the 40K Today Facebook page and sound off. We want to hear your opinion. We have a lot of heroes out there doing great work to bring the community together. This week we get to highlight Craig, who has inspired so many people on Instagram to share the work of others. Our own Tanya Gates talks to Craig about his amazing initiative.
Thanks so much for coming on the program, Craig.
Thanks for having me.
So I thought that we would talk a little bit about community building and the great community that you've built around yourself on Instagram. But first, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got involved in Warhammer and wargaming in general?
Okay, cool. It feels like I've been a lifelong gamer. 25 years now, I guess. It started in high school with a friend who used to live in England, then immigrated to Canada, and he had a Citadel's annual catalog in his hand in shop class. And after I started looking through that, it kind of turned into Pandora's box, and here I am doing my best to kind of help a community grow and thrive now, I guess, on Instagram.
That is so awesome. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your unique hashtag and sort of how it works on Instagram?
Oh, for sure. I was, I guess, lucky enough or fortunate enough to create the hashtag Spread the Hobby Love, and that was just in regard to some information exchange that one other artist and I were having. I was asking about a certain technique. I believe it was object source lighting, and it kind of all came together, and I just wanted to show appreciation. So I just kind of spur of the moment made the hashtag as I was making my post, Spread the Hobby Love, and it's kind of caught on by the community like wildfire, just to show that kind of unconditional appreciation for what we do, and the fact that we all love being excited about the hobby and being able to share that with everyone else. So what better way to really pinpoint that and focus on it, or have it at someone's fingertips if they were searching through Instagram, than using the same hashtag.
Absolutely, but it's not just you who uses the hashtag now. Now it seems like everywhere I go when I'm searching around on Instagram, I see this hashtag. Especially, I seem to see it in people's stories. How did that all get started?
That was kind of one, I guess, project that I've always wanted to do. Always liking to be a builder and helping other people build themselves as well as their skills to help build others. I initially just wanted to kind of make it my mission to, spread that hobby love, as it were, for lack of a better term, by showcasing other people's great art, because we all make art as miniature painters or gamers, and everyone has their amazing merits, and everyone has a right to know that. And it was just a way to kind of share other people's work that other people might not know about, and allow those kind of connections to happen, and that kind of credit where it's due.
Yeah, I really love it too when they'll share the work of others, but then they'll always like add this nice little snippet of something that they love about that particular piece that they're sharing. I just feel like it's just such a feel good act, and it really shows that the community online, especially on Instagram, is maybe a little bit more supportive than in other places. Was it important for you to be part of creating something like that?
I don't think it was my intent to kind of have it blossom and turn into this living, breathing thing that it is now. But my main thing is this is a hobby. You get enjoyment from a hobby, and your excitement breeds other excitement. And when you're sincere about it, people know about it and they want to learn more. And I guess that's kind of one of the things that allowed this to become what it is now. It's its own entity almost. So it wasn't the plan initially. It wasn't the focus. Again, the main focus was just giving credit where it's due and letting people know that, yeah, it's all right to do your own thing, but you're still just as awesome as everybody else.
Excellent. And has this project or this hashtag has it taught you anything, or has it maybe shown you any ways that each and every one of us could um, sort of like anything we could apply to create a better community around ourselves?
I think the big focus is if you want to create something, or in this case, a community, surround yourself around people who you want to be surrounded by. So if you want to become a top-notch painter, find people that are light years ahead of you and learn all you can. In this case, about just community in general and that togetherness, you surround yourself with people that you love having those off the cuff communications or emails or like we're doing now, have those correspondence with that really kind of you get pumped up about, and they get pumped up about it, and then your hobby grows because of it and their hobby grows because of it. So it's just a matter of like breeds like, and as long as you're trying to keep cognizant, I guess, of what you're trying to cultivate, you can be really, really, really effective.
Excellent. And so you stream live on Instagram. What days and times can people find you?
Usually it's every Monday. I start at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard because I'm in Ontario, Canada, and I stream for 2 hours. Sometimes I do random kind of spur of the moment streams, but I can always be found Mondays.
Mondays, and we will make sure that we make you easy to find. But thanks so much for coming on the show, Craig.
Oh, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Love, love, love featuring genuine hobby heroes on this podcast. Make sure you check out his Instagram in the links below. Next up, we talk to our own Steve Joll. Today's episode of 40K Today is brought to you by Frontline Gaming. Frontline Gaming is a one-stop shop for all your Warhammer hobby needs, discounted products, American-made gaming mats and terrain, and a full line of miniatures painting service and daily hobby content. And this can all be found at frontlinegaming.org. Welcome back. We had a real in-person event go down in New Zealand, and our own Steve Joll was there. He played in his first ever team event and stopped by to talk all about it. All right, joining us today is the one and only Steve Joll, who just got done doing a real live event in person. Steve, you want to tell everybody about it?
Well, thanks, John. Man, it is good to be back on this show. I have missed it. It's called the Fields of Blood. There's a guy in Wellington, the capital city of New Zealand, who organises tournaments on a regular basis, and they all have the overarching title of Fields of Blood. There's the Grand Tournament, which is like a New Zealand Open, which is a much bigger tournament, which actually happened in a reduced capacity just before lockdown. We just managed to sneak it in before New Zealand went into lockdown. And then this is the kind of the first post-lockdown tournament that's been allowed to happen. And it was a teams event. It was set up because New Zealand, for the first time, was going to have a team going to the WTC in Austria, which obviously now is not going to happen. But this was set up so that the guys who were hoping to go as part of that team would have some teams practice. And man, John, I don't know if you've done a teams event before, but it is such a different beast. And it's really cool to be part of a team.
I will tell you that team events, and I haven't done one for 40K, so full disclosure, but I've done many of them with War Machine and Hordes, which is the same thing. You're playing with your friends, and it's so much more fulfilling to play in a team event, in my opinion, because you're playing for your team, right?
Right. And the flip side of that, of course, is if you play badly, then you're letting your team down. So there's a little, there's a little bit more pressure there. I'm not a very good player, I'll give you that, but I'm an excellent recruiter. So our team came first overall in this team's event. It wasn't a big event. There were only 6 teams from around different cities of New Zealand who came to Wellington over the weekend. We got first overall on the basis of the fact that I have another little podcast that I do, and part of that podcast we have the number 1 and number 3 ranked players in New Zealand currently, and they were both on the team, and then we had a couple of ring-ins. So 5-man teams. One of the real learning curves here, though, was just the different way you build your army to be part of a team. So you don't have to build an all-comers list. You build my captain spoke to me about, what he wanted out of me, and so I took my Tau, and I was able to build it much more in the direction of lots of fusion and the big ion cannon on one of the Riptides, so that I could be harder to kill and also take out stuff that doesn't have invols. So, for example, I went up against an Iron Hands list and was able to chew through the Repulsor Executioners within 2 turns. They were all gone, which was the bulk of his list. So you can really tailor your list one way or the other, depending on what your captain needs from you as part of a team, rather than having to build an all-comers list, which makes a big difference. And it's a really cool kind of part of the learning curve. And then the other big thing is how our captain, handled the matchups, being able to. There's a real tactic and strategy in how you do your matchups with the other team and who you want to face and who you really, more importantly, want to avoid facing. So anything that had, lots of psychic and the chaos and the possessed bomb, I needed to stay away from that. So we were able to manage that, which was great.
Also, stay away from that contorted epitome, right?
Yeah, that's it. There were 2 lists that had contorted epitomes, and they were the first ones. I said to them, I don't want those. I don't want any piece of those. You just keep them away from me, and I'll be happy.
Yeah. So I'm glad that you brought up how interesting team events are, because the other thing that's really fun about a team event is you can go into a match and know that you're going to lose the match, but still play your heart out and help the team win because you didn't give up as many points to the opponent as they needed to get to win the overall team matchup, right? So it makes the game very rewarding. It allows you to jump on the grenade for your team, which is another rewarding part of it. You're just like, well, nobody wants to play this, but I will go and lose my game, but I'm going to lose by less than the least amount of points that I can lose by, right? And I'm gonna do the best I can. Yeah.
That happened. Exactly, that situation happened twice, and unfortunately, I, as the probably the least good player in the team, I was what we call thrown under the bus twice. But the job was just to try and eke out as many points as I could to go towards the team total, but also to take away the list that just no one else wanted to face. So to get as many great matchups as we could, and it just turned out that on 2 occasions over the weekend, I was the guy that had to wear the list that I really couldn't do anything about.
Okay, so just a couple quick questions before I let you go.
Yeah.
Would you recommend people seek out a team to get into some team events?
100%. Listen, as I mentioned already, I'm not a great player, but I love tournament events. People, I think, have this impression of tournaments full stop, but I've never, I won't say never, probably once or twice we've had minor issues, but almost 100% of my experience in tournaments has been friendly, helpful, community, supportive, generous, and just really positive and great. And also, it's 5 or 6 games in a weekend. You never have a chance to play that much and learn as much as you do at a tournament. So that's the first thing. Secondly, team tournament, you've then got the ability to, between rounds, kind of confer with your teammates and go, well, what do you guys think I did wrong? What do I need to improve? Or how do I face this army that I'm facing coming up? Give me a quick piece of advice. So team tournaments, because of that team dynamic and just the fact that I love tournaments anyway, 100% recommended.
It's also a great way to take. It's a good way to just spend time with your friends, right?
Yeah,
because it's a very bonding, very, very, very positive experience for the most part. Is assuming you're going with your true friends and not going with random people that don't like you very much, right?
Yeah, sure. But even my good friends don't like me very much, to be fair. But it's all the way around. I recommend to people who haven't tried a tournament and only ever heard about it on Facebook or read about it on Facebook or whatever, just go. Just take an army, go have fun. It's always great. And a team tournament, if you can find one, that's a great place to be.
Well, that's great. Thanks, Steve. That was 40K Today's Steve Joll. We should maybe make a 40K Today team. I'm going to have to think about that. Okay, 40K folks, let's get pumped for the model of the day.
It's the model of the day, the model of the day, the model of the day.
Today we have an amazing Caladius grav tank done by Wolf Wargaming. It has a beautiful palette of reds and golds and a lot of amazing details. The icons on the front sponsons look amazing. You should definitely come check this model out. If you'd like to see a model featured on the show, make sure you tag your photos with hashtag 40K Today or send us a message on Facebook and we will definitely get your model on the show. And that's it for today. A big thanks to our content producer, Alex Painter, and our amazing social media Wonder Woman, Tanya Gates, and our technical producer, Seamus Ronan, for all their hard work once again in putting the program together. If you like the show and like to help us out, we'd love it if you left us a review. Those reviews help people find the show, and we're extremely grateful for every one that's left. And tomorrow is a very special episode. Tomorrow will be our 100th episode where we take a break from interviews and talking about 40K, and we talk about how this show came together, and we have a kind of candid discussion about, what we get out of making the show. So hopefully you guys get a little behind the scenes look into, how we think. But until then, for the 40K Today team, I'm John Damaris, and that's what's happening in 40K Today.